Hi, it's Jane. It's day 23 of my 40-day cleanse and exploration of tenderness. It was very interesting how life doesn't let me figure her out. It's like as soon as I feel like I have something to hold on to or understand or like I got it, it's like, no, you don't. As much as I want answers, I think she knows that deep inside I really enjoy the mystery, and she keeps surprising me. So what happened yesterday is I actually made 2 videos yesterday. I was going off on this thing about kind of going for what you really desire and trusting your body and your feelings and how we need to trust them over any outside authority. Like the social constructs and the rules, they've caused a lot of us to suppress ourselves, to feel guilty and shameful about our feelings, and to become disconnected from what true integrity means. Like integrity doesn't come from matching something external to you that says this is how it should be, because life is constantly changing. So to me, like true integrity is being aligned with life itself. Like nature, she can't be controlled, and there are laws of nature, but it doesn't come from something outside saying this is the way it should be, right? It just has its own natural thing. Like, even like most animals don't mate for life, but the ones that do, they don't mate for life because they are, they sign a contract. It's natural for them. And for most animals, it's not. So yeah, I was going off on this, and then I was talking about, interestingly, a couple of art projects I did, and one is shows it started with a collage, and I just picked pretty pictures because of the colors, because it was supposed to be just background. But the pictures ended up being from Holy Week in India, and it happened to be Holy Week when I made it. It was last week, so that was kind of neat. And in the middle of the picture is, I'll show it at the end of the video, is like a window. It's actually from Korea, and there's like a view of the mountains. It's really beautiful. And on top of it, I put this mandala. And there was some cool serendipity. Like I put some scraps of paper. I have like cut up sheets of paper with random words on it, like from books. And sometimes I'll pick them out randomly just to see kind of what the universe is telling me, the unconscious. And out of like all these scraps of paper, the piece that I picked up actually said the word orange elephants. And like a cosmic celebration. So it was really cool, and I was really happy with it. But then when I put this mandala on top, I was not enjoying the project. And I was frustrated, and it's like life when things don't go your way. I was just like, especially because I liked it at first and I felt like I ruined it. And what I realized later is that I finished it, and now I don't hate it. I'm actually starting to like it. But what I noticed is, I don't like structure. Like, the collage itself is a structure. It's on a page, and I'm arranging it and thinking about it. But something like a mandala, I think it's beautiful, and I like when other people can do like detailed work. Probably because it's not my forte, so I admire it more in other people. But I actually don't enjoy it. It's kind of like, and I want it to look good, but if it's something that's not kind of really the way I like to express, then of course the end result isn't going to be as satisfying to me. And so it was just a lesson in like, I don't have to kind of try to be good at everything, and knowing like what suits me. But another thing that was interesting about it was I noticed it's a mandala, so it's a circle, and it's kind of like, looks like it's flying out the window. And it reminded me of what I was talking about in the poem The Carnival, which is about kind of unhinging from these like mental constructs and the social constructs, and what would happen if we kind of just let go of this facade of order that we're trying to overlay on these natural instincts that are more wild, that are more wild. And the reason why keeps coming up for me is because I had another emotional memory come up where I talked about the first time I had sex the other day. Well, the second time I had sex was not too long after, and it was another really bad experience. And I remember, someone I wasn't in a relationship with, and I didn't have any personal feelings about him. I just, we were kind of fucked up. I think we were on mushrooms. And I remember, being ashamed afterwards and not telling anyone about it. And I was also worried that I was pregnant. Yeah, for weeks. I mean, it was scary. And whereas he went to school the next day and told everyone at lunchtime, and, he's getting like pats on the back. Like, I remember him saying something like, yeah, I'd hit that again. Whereas I'm not telling any of my friends, I'm scared. And this, this is the kind of society we live in. And I mean, this is just this is not a drastic example, right? There's so many worse things happening in this area of sexuality. But even what I just described, which isn't that drastic, it's nothing even close to that should be happening, right? And it's just so common, and so many worse things are common. And and part of like my shame was, again, because I wasn't like in this steady relationship, and I felt ashamed that a part of me was curious. And I remember telling people afterwards for a long time, like, I didn't really want to do it. I mean, he didn't force me, but, I really didn't want to. And, that was true and not true. It was true in the sense that the part of me that felt like, no, this is wrong, and I don't really like him, and, didn't want to. But the part of me that allowed it to happen, the part of me that didn't protest, it wasn't just because I was fucked up. It was because I was curious, and I didn't want to admit that. And I remember like my best friend talking to me after she heard what happened, and just telling me how disappointed she was in me. And that's what happened. Like, and I was just thinking how different it would be if it was more like, hey guys, this is what happened to me, or this is what I experienced, right? Like, oh yeah, I had this experience with this guy, and this is what it felt like. And, being able to have a conversation about it, like the guys did, and having it be okay to explore something like that. So, it just seems like, so for me, I mean, I just noticed like that's part of why I feel shame. I've disconnected from my body. I kind of am scared almost of pleasure, and I'm 37. These things happened over 20 years ago, and so just really wanting to wake up and be fully connected to my body, and trust my feelings again, and really unravel like what happens when we are told that what we feel and what we want is not okay, and what happens when for years we try to fit something. I mean, yeah. So anyway, it was really funny, this whole analogy with the mandala and the Ferris wheel and the merry-go-round that I've been playing with, because earlier today I was talking with someone on the phone about this, about like these old ideas that are still kind of affecting our culture, where we don't have permission to really trust ourselves and just do what we want to do, like, and be natural about it. And while I was talking, this hula hoop that happens to be in my room knocked over all of these glass bottles and a picture frame that has a picture of my mother and my grandmother in it. So it just seemed funny, like, yeah, what happens when we topple these constructs that have affected all of us, and particularly women, or that's what I'm kind of focusing on since that's my experience. And I just know it's common, what I just talked about. So anyway, in yesterday's video, I was talking about all this stuff. And oh, the other art piece I made was, I was following an art prompt, which interestingly was called The Vessel of Tenderness, which I thought was neat. And it's an art prompt where I was just like, you know, coloring the whole page, like without thinking. And then again, I put in some like words that I picked randomly. And then from that, it kind of, I wiped out, like with white paint, I wiped out some of the bottoms so that the vase is formed from negative space. The container, the vessel that's containing the flowers is made from negative space. And the words that were picked this time said something like, he seems to not be tame. The end of the family, that was what was inside the vessel part, the end of the family. And then, but he feels good. And so what struck me was the phrase, the end of the family, because that seems like very negative, you know? And then as I was doing the work, what came to me was the end of the family, meaning this is what I'm talking about, like the end of the family structure, the delusion. So Einstein talks about how, you know, all of us live in this, we think we're separate from the rest of the universe, and we limit our affections and our attachments to this small group of people, like our family, our friends, our belongings, when this is a delusion. I mean, our family is the entire universe. We're all one. And and this is a really important concept that I've been working on, because I am very close with my family, and I'm very connected to like my ancestral lineage and ancient traditions in general, and loyalty, the idea of loyalty and commitment. And these are really beautiful connections that can actually help us deepen into who we are, and in some ways be a pathway to really wake up to who we are, like to embrace where you've come from and feel supported and loved and all of that. But it can get tricky because it can also be used as a way of separation, right? I mean, just like football teams and nations and family feuds, and it's just a way of separating from other people and also separating from ourselves, like because family and other attachments like that society approves of can be run so deep. Sometimes it obstructs our ability to do our own work. Like for me, I noticed like I've been happier lately, and I feel guilty being around my mom who isn't feeling that way. Or if my belief system changes, because even something like I'm doing this cleanse, so I'm eating differently, and every time I do something like that, it's like it's such a social thing to eat together. And so when you start changing lifestyle choices or your belief systems, you run up against resistance from people who haven't changed. And it hurts sometimes to feel like you're not part of this group or being accepted. And especially if you want to stay close to them, or they're your family or your spouse or your kids, you know? So, and then this whole idea of being selfish, like it comes up very strong when we have these commitments that we've made either consciously or unconsciously. Like when you have kids, it's usually a conscious commitment, right? And when you have a spouse, but like sometimes it's not. Like we don't, I think it's common for people to lose themselves in relationships and not even be aware of what's happening. I'm going to stop this here and record part 2.